Wednesday, March 5. The temporary ruler of this world. We have seen in previous lessons that within the cosmic conflict, Satan and his cohorts are temporarily granted significant jurisdiction in this world, limited according to some kind of rules of engagement. These rules of engagement limit not only the actions of the enemy, the devil and his cohorts, they also limit God's action to eliminate or mitigate the evil that temporarily falls within the jurisdiction of the enemy. Because the Lord will never break his promises, to the extent he has agreed to the rules of engagement, thus affording some limited and temporary rulership to the devil, God has morally limited his future course of action without lessening his raw power. Read John 12, verse 31, John 14, verse 30, John 16, verse 11, 2 Corinthians 4, verse 4, and Luke 4, verse 6. What do these texts teach us about the rulership of the enemy in this world? John chapter 12 and verse 31. Now is the time for judgment on this world. Now the prince of this world will be driven out. John chapter 14, verse 30. I will not say much more to you, for the prince of this world is coming. He has no hold over me. John chapter 16, verse 11, concerning judgment as well, because the prince of this world now stands condemned. 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 4. The God of this age has blinded the minds of unbelievers so that they cannot see the light of the gospel that displays the glory of Christ, who is the image of God. In Luke 4 and verse 6, and he said to him, I will give you all their authority and splendor. It has been given to me, and I can give it to anyone I want to. The New Testament sets forth a clash of kingdoms, the kingdoms of light and darkness, with the darkness coming from Satan and his rebellion. Part of Christ's mission was to defeat the kingdom of Satan, as 1 John 3 and verse 8 tells us, for this purpose the Son of God was manifested, that he might destroy the works of the devil. Nevertheless, there are rules that limit what God can do while remaining true to the principles behind his government. These limits include at least 1, the granting of free will to creatures, and 2, the covenantal rules of engagement, which we are not privy to, at least now. Such impediments and limitations on divine action have significant implications for God's moral ability to reduce and or immediately eliminate evil in this world. And so we see continued evil and suffering, which can indeed cause many people to question either God's existence or his goodness. However, once the background of the great controversy is understood and the limits God has placed on how he will deal with evil, we can to some degree better understand why things are as they are, at least until the final triumph of God over evil. Question for reflection. How does the fact that Jesus calls Satan the ruler of this world help, at least somewhat, our understanding of the evil that exists in the world now? How comforting to know that it is, indeed, only a temporal rule.
Wednesday, March 5. The temporary ruler of this world. When Christ came to this world, he found that Satan had everything as he wanted it. The adversary of God and man thought that he was indeed the prince of the earth, but Jesus laid hold of the world to take it out of the power of Satan. He came to redeem it from the curse of sin and the penalty of transgression, that the transgressor might be forgiven. He planted the cross between earth and heaven, and between divinity and humanity. And as the Father beheld the cross, he was satisfied. In the cross, mercy and truth have met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other. Ellen G. White Comments in the Seventh-day Adventist Bible Commentary, Volume 5, page 1137. When Jesus was led into the wilderness to be tempted, he was led by the Spirit of God. He did not invite temptation. He went to the wilderness to be alone, to contemplate his mission work. By fasting and prayer, he was to brace himself for the blood-stained path he must travel. But Satan knew that the Savior had gone into the wilderness, and he thought this the best time to approach him. Mighty issues for the world were at stake in the conflict between the Prince of Light and the leader of the kingdom of darkness. After tempting man to sin, Satan claimed the earth as his and styled himself the prince of this world. Having conformed to his own nature the father and mother of our race, he thought to establish here his empire. He declared that men had chosen him as their sovereign. Through his control of men, he held dominion over the world. Christ had come to disprove Satan's claim. As the Son of Man, Christ would stand loyal to God. Thus it would be shown that Satan had not gained complete control of the human race and that his claim to the world was false. All who desired deliverance from his power would be set free. The dominion that Adam had lost through sin would be recovered. The Desire of Ages, page 114. Jesus gave Satan no advantage. When the last steps of Christ's humiliation were to be taken, when the deepest sorrow was closing about his soul, he said to his disciples, "The prince of this world cometh, and hath nothing in me. The prince of this world is judged. Now shall he be cast out." John chapter 14, verse 30, chapter 16, verse 11, and chapter 12, verse 31. With prophetic eye, Christ traced the scenes to take place in his last great conflict. He knew that when he should exclaim, "It is finished," all heaven would triumph. His ear caught the distant music and the shouts of victory in the heavenly courts. He knew that the knell of Satan's empire would then be sounded, and the name of Christ would be heralded from world to world throughout the universe. The Desire of Ages, pages 678 and 679.
And remember, God is always faithful.